We'll try to get these posts cut off here and get some beams set up here. And I want to hasten to mention, I'm just doing it a way, okay? There's many different ways to build yourself a shed. As long as you get it plumb, level, square. I forget exactly where I was. My son called and he had to give me some good news, and I always like good news, you know. I was going to use 2x6s, but I got these 2x8s here. They've been laying here uncovered probably for 5 years, and I think I can find 6 out of that I'm going to use. So unless I forget to mention it, and I'm probably going to forget to mention it, my batter boards created a flat plane. So I know that this line here is the same as that line over there. It's 12 feet wide from outside of post to outside of post. But I wanted to come up off of this point here, 84 inches, which puts me right there at that line. So that's 84 inches off of the concrete up to that line. That's where the bottom of my header is going to sit. And I've taken me a 2x4 here and made me a mark right there on that 2x4. So now, and that screw is exactly where that flat plane line is that pulled off my batter boards. Okay, got another screw right there. I'll set this 2x4 on there and mark the top. So that line down there, that screw is sitting right at that line, exactly like the first post. And I'll put my mark on there, and I do that for each of the posts. But even what I'm doing right here, everything, just do your way. If I was building another shed tomorrow, I'd probably be doing something different. Basically, I'd be doing the same thing, because I want this line to be perfectly level across the top when I set this header on here, and then set the rafters on top of the header, so everything will be good and flat. Flat, true, straight, plumb, square. I mean, you just get those things done. You know what I'm saying? Well, that changes the looks of things a bit. Amazing how such a little thing can make a difference. Now, coming off the batter board, I've explained all that, but I should be able to lay a board up on top of those, put a level on it, and it should be level. Let's just check that. I've got a 1x4 piece of poplar here. Can you see that from where you're at? Let me bring you in here. I think I'll be able to do this with one hand. On top of that one, on top of that one. You know, that's what we want right there. Just a little pro tip. You probably are, I'm sure you already know this, but some of you, 2 or 3 of you might not know this. You know, you plug it in a saw or something out in the fields, and you take your saw out, start to turn it on, and it won't turn on. Your cords come unplugged. You'll take both ends like this, okay? Turn your hand upside down like that. Make your loop. Stick the ends through that loop. Pull them back out. Plug it in. That'll be there. The rest of the day. Try to explain what I'm doing here. I'm putting down what you might call the bottom plate of the header. These are 4-inch screws. You may notice I've got overhang here. Here from the post out to this 45 is 14 inches. I'll set my two baits here, put a top plate on that, and then I'll put a 45 on the top plate, and that way I can put a piece on the end. But with these two 4-inch screws in this post, and I do that on that end and then carry on all the way to the other end. All these will be all tied together at the bottom, and then the purlins will be all tied together at the top, and then the top plate on the header. I'll show you. I won't leave you in the dark. Now, most of you are probably ahead of me, but some of you might not be. So I'm building here. If you've ever watched a house framed up, you've seen headers across the windows and doors. They'll have a bottom plate, two standing up pieces, depending on the width of the window. Maybe a 2x4, maybe a 2x6, maybe a 2x8, 2x10, 2x12. What I'm building is a header, just like those. Now, why do I not build the header on the ground like we do when we're framing a house? Why am I doing it up here? Some of you can see why I'm doing it up here. If I built the header on the ground, I couldn't screw down through the bottom plate. But because I'm building it up here, I can screw these posts, secure them to the bottom plate. Then I can set my boards up here, screw those up or nail those up, either one, up through the bottom. Put the top plate on. I built the header just like you would build in a house. The difference is I've been able to secure these posts down through the top. Make sense? Let's see if we can't salvage about 6 of these. If you don't mind, I know most of you know this, but some of you might not. Every board, regardless, it may look straight, but every board has what is called crown in it. This board here, it looks straight. But if I turn it up, and if you look right down the top of it, I doubt there's any way to tell on the camera, but it's got a crown in it like that. And you want to be careful to turn your crown up every time. I don't know of any situation where you want to turn the crown down. Just a little pro tip. I know probably most of you know that, but some might not. And you know, I hadn't thought about it. Somebody's probably going to ask, well, why are you just not using a beam, a solid beam? Absolutely. A man can use a solid beam if he wants to. Like I said, these timbers have been laying over there for 5 years. And I think it's time we put them to good use. So I saved my beams that I've got cut for the next project, and I put these up. Does that make any sense at all? All right, let's step back and look at what we got so far. Getting ready to put our top plate on there, and then on these ends, I'll be showing you what I'm going to do on those. I need 3 12-foot 2x6s, and you know what? Fella got a sawmill. I just happen to have 3. These are laid off on 2-foot centers. Just a little, everybody knows this, you probably know this, but the X is where you put the board, in this case a rafter. And this is the primary line going that way. So this line is just relative, but this is where I want to set to on top of that X. Same thing here on top of the X, top of the X, top of the X. I scribbled that out because I forgot I'm using 2-inch wide rafters instead of 1.5 inches. All right, let's get that up there. Does that need to go out a little bit more? I believe it does. All righty. Here again, the same thing as putting your beams. Start at one end and walk it down. Now somebody may say, those screws are expensive, aren't they? Yeah, they are. But when you've been doing it as long as I've been doing it, you collect an inventory off of jobs, and I'm using out of inventory. So that's a good thing. Now you also might notice right here, this top plate lapped over this one. And so that, now they totally can't go like that. Let me get a little pencil lead going here. Okay, I want to carry on the layout off of the first one. And what I did, I cut the first one 1 inch shy. So I'm going to let that hang over 1 inch. That's where the line is. And I'm putting them on 2-foot centers. I'll put that mark right there. Come right here. And carry on. Okay, I'm gonna make a little end piece down here. And I think after I put that on, it might make sense to you. I don't know. Here's another little pro tip for you. When using a circular saw, whatever hand you're using, right hand, left, and whichever, you need to have complete control of that saw. Okay? You're stronger than the motor is, more than likely, if it's, you know, a 7 1/4. But you don't relax, you got your pressure on that. Okay, so why am I doing this? Well, one, I don't want birds and waspers building in there. Two, I want the end of it somewhat, what you might say, protected from the weather. There we go. Makes a pretty nice end to the beam. Now we'll get one on the other end. There we go. So we're ready now. Jump over to the other side and cut these posts off wherever we want them. We got our beam set on the back side. We got it laid off. We know where our rafters are going to go. Didn't get finished, but I got a good bit done, I think. Hey, listen, I'll see you in the morning.